Good morning, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio. Today, we're going to be covering Xavier Protocols, a lovely website for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we're going to be covering the top 5 shield agents that are superheroes that we might be getting on the tabletop. But we'll talk about those rumors and speculations in just a moment. First up, Xavier Protocols. Now, Xavier Protocols is a website dedicated to Marvel Crisis Protocol for you all. A lot of they keep track of a lot of tournaments such as Las Vegas Open, Adepticon and such, like a lot of websites do. They also have a lot of information in regards to Tabletop Simulator. If you're not aware of that, it is something you can get through Steam. It allows you to play tabletop miniature games virtually with other people. And they keep track of rosters, the most played affiliations, the most played characters, and whatnot. It is a useful tool for people that just can't get out. They can't get enough games in, that sort of thing. Now, the Xavier Protocols webpage, it gets updated every so often. It's not frequently updated. Excuse me. But as new stuff drops, they keep updated. And if you're not aware, recently, Marvel Crisis Protocol from Atomic Mass Games has not been getting a lot of updates. Well, it's been getting updates. Really what they're doing, at least in regards to Marvel Crisis Protocol, is just throwing out team roster pictures of teams and their rosters and whatnot, not getting a lot of information. There's a little bit of an FAQ update, but right now we're starting to see some major Star Wars movement for X-Wing and for Star Wars Legion. So hopefully that means soon we will be seeing some Marvel Crisis Protocol. Otherwise, we're waiting until June, sometime in June, which is going to be bad for business if you catch my drift there. So anyways, Xavier Protocols covers a lot of things like the characters, crisis cards, different strategies, team tactic cards, and whatnot. You can get a kind of a bird's eye view of all these characters and the combinations. Now, the rosters, as I blaze through this, there's a lot of content, so I don't want to take away from the website. But like season 7, it just kind of rounded out on Tabletop Simulator last month, and this kind of gives you a breakdown depending on where you are in the world or where the largest concentration of players are in the world. You know, which affiliations are being used, which characters are seeing the most use, which, you know, we're not surprised to see Dr. Voodoo being used a great deal. He is not only a fan favorite, but he is I don't want to say a must-have, but I think at the Adepticon, I think 2 or 3 of the top list had Dr. Voodoo in it, and or Black Order. Which crisis events are being used. Keep in mind, this is for Tabletop Simulator, but if you combine this information alongside, say, Longshank's information, you can kind of get a good idea of which cards are being used the most, and take a look at them if you own them, of course, and see how you can start, at least see why they're popular, and then try to determine, is this something that you want to use to enhance your game? Basically, I'm just showing this off to you guys so you have at least a good idea of what's going on in the meta. Now, whether that the meta is being the tournament scene or the casual competitive scene, or just the, hey, let's just do some weird goofy stuff, that this is available for you. I like to make sure you guys get all these type of resources. Now, I'll have the link for this down in the comments below. So today I want to cover the shield agents that are superheroes, and that current rumors, more speculation more than rumors. I think some of the rumors that have been sent in to me is more speculating and or wish listing, which there's nothing wrong with that. So let's take a look at who I think that are superheroes or have superpowers that are also known to be shield agents first and foremost. Now, yes, we already got Black Widow and Hawkeye, but I think both versions of Captain America are in there. I think even Iron Man is in there as a shield agent. But let's talk about actual dedicated characters that are shield agents or Shield adjacent. Shield adjacent or Shield affiliates? Let's go Shield adjacent. I like that better. And speaking of Shield adjacent, let's talk about our number 5. This is Deathlock. Now, some of you guys might know Deathlock. Some of you might not. He is definitely an older character. Now, he has shown up in the Shield TV show. He has been showing up more recently in the Marvel Comics as they're battling various versions of an anti-Avengers group, the Masters of Evil from the far future. And Deathlock is a gentleman who was turned into a cyborg. He has an adamantium skeleton. His outer armor is some sort of elastic adamantium steel composite alloy thingy-majig. And everything that comes along with having the adamantium, he's got that level of protection. Now, the outer shell is, as I said, it's more of an alloy, so it might not be as strong as adamantium, but it definitely can shrug off most stuff, unless, of course, they have to fight off a villain or that's capable of just like disintegrating them or melting them for Deus Ex Machina reasons, whatever. But he's got the durability. We know that he is super strong. He's able to press around 85 tons, and we know he can get up to 150 tons, at least according to some of the databases out there. We know that he uses a wide variety of weaponry, mainly plasma weapons, because his internal power source is a plasma generator. So he uses that energy to also empower his weapons. He can pretty much use anything, get his hands on. He likes to shoot people. That's his really big focus, because he doesn't have like energy blast or coiled adamantium whips or whatever like that. He uses guns, and to assist him with all this is all this cybernetic enhancements that make him faster. Like he can go around 100 miles an hour, pressing 100 or 85 tons, and he's got this awesome AI computer built into his head that kind of does this great syncing with his human fleshy brain that gives him pretty much unlimited storage space. I mean, we're talking whatever petabytes, like upon petabytes. They one of the databases suggests that it's incalculable. Now, I mention this because this would give him a variety of perhaps team tactic cards, but I'm looking more like on his reactive powers, that he would have maybe more reactive powers than a superpower, and maybe some innate abilities. This guy could definitely be on the faster side. He could have a long range movement, a variety of cheap, inexpensive energy blasts that maybe 4 or 5 dice, but really a lot of things will come into his durability. That's going to be his biggest thing. So that's why he's right now sitting at my number 5. He is not necessarily a SHIELD agent. He is a freelancer or a free agent for SHIELD. So I think he would be ideal to get in there, and somebody that would be better off, or at least perform better than, say, Punisher or Winter Soldier. Put him down as a rogue agent, put him in the roster, pat him on the butt, get him out the door. Let's go to our number 4, Spider-Woman. This is Jessica Drew. And yes, I chose this image for multiple reasons. The biggest, most important, rounded, focused reason I could talk about is that it just lends itself to help me line it up in the frame a lot easier. It's got some kind of built-in or drawn tools there to help me narrow down, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, Jessica Drew has got a very storied past in regards to where her powers come from. It was a genetic experimentation, then it was a mutation, or then it was her powers are linked to some totemic or totem, spider totem power like Spider-Man and a few others. So is she the avatar, some spider deity? Is it genetic enhancements or experimentations? At this point, who really knows? But we do have this amazing character. So she doesn't spin around on webs like everybody else. She gets around because she's faster, stronger, tougher, more durable, more flexible, like twice that of a regular human. And her agility and everything are all above Olympic level because of her superhuman enhancements. She also has a little wing glider, dealy bobbers underneath her armpits. Now, her powers, however, are a little different. She has these bioelectric blasts. And yes, some people might be like, Miles Morales has bioelectric blast. Well, not quite on this level. She can literally kill people. It's like getting struck with lightning. That is how powerful her powers, her electric blasts can be compared to Miles Morales. She has some degree of a healing ability from her spider physiology. She has wall crawling. She also has in regards to her healing ability, it is regenerative and actually way faster than the average human. What would take, say, days, maybe even a week to heal, or maybe a little longer, she can heal in minutes. We're not talking Wolverine level here, but definitely just below. The other thing that we could see on the tabletop is her pheromone secretion. This she can use to kind of generate a aura, if you will, that can make people afraid, can attract them, repulse them. Basically, she can do it to affect the mind of people. So when you add that with her bioelectric blast, her ability to wall crawl, kind of a self-propelled flight ability, I mean, regardless, at least on a tabletop, in regards to her movement, she'll either have flight or wall crawling. You combine all these abilities in there and you get, yes, a kind of a Miles Morales character, but we get a female version, right? And somebody that's a lot more lethal than him. Also has regeneration abilities, martial arts, like far exceeding that of Miles Morales. Basically a better Miles Morales. And not because it's a female with some amazing assets, but the fact that she has been trained by Nick Fury, trained by Taskmaster. She's a skilled spy. She's worked for Hydra, then SHIELD, and then Hydra again against SHIELD, and then with SHIELD against Hydra. She's been an Avenger, a West Coast Avenger, a new Avenger. She is a prime candidate for being a SHIELD agent. So I think we might see her. Now, will we see the original Jessica Drew, the Spider-Woman, or are we going to see the, I think it's Jessica Lance is, I think, the second Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman 2 runs around with the black and white costume, but she is now in the comics Madam Web, so I'm not sure how that's going to interact. But I think she'd be great because we can get an Avenger out of her, we can get a Spider or a Web Warriors out of her, and of course, we'll get her as a SHIELD agent. Moving on to number 3, a kind of a long-term, at least old school fan favorite, is Mockingbird. Now, Mockingbird is at least for the longest time, your average level secret agent type character. She's got training from Nick Fury, Captain America, and even, I think, Taskmaster at one point. She's got all the spy skills. She's got all the marksmanship skills. She is a skilled secret agent. Her biggest combat ability, besides her mixed martial arts and such, is she has these batons or battle staves. They look like eskrima sticks, but she can combine them together. And she's got a very durable battle weapon that she uses to smack people in the head with. Now, that battle staff, before we get back into our history, that battle stave also has the ability to generate a very potent taser blast. Now, I know I'm doing things in reverse here, but I'm really excited about Mockingbird because she has also recently in comics got a taste of the Infinity Formula that Nick Fury got. She was dying, and Hawkeye and Nick Fury rescued her, and they're like, you know what? We've got to save her. Let's give her basically a super soldier formula. That is a version of that's what the Infinity Formula is. So it gave her enhanced strength and agility, and also gave her a healing ability. Not quite the level of, say, Jessica Drew's regeneration ability, but she definitely got some healing factor. When you combine all this, you have a very mobile, athletic, close combat combatant. Now she'd probably be on the low end, probably around a 2, maybe a 3, kind of like Shuri or Okoye, but it would definitely be cool to see her on the tabletop. Now she is a respected biochemist. She has a PhD in that. She has served in SHIELD. She has served with the Avengers and the West Coast Avengers, and for a brief time, the Great Lakes Avengers, which would be really interesting to see if Atomic Mass Games pull them out as a possible team, but I hope not, because we have a lot of other villains that need to be covered. But she is an iconic SHIELD agent and an Avenger. We know she's been in relationships with Hawkeye for the longest time, especially when they were both West Coast Avengers, and more recently with Spider-Man Peter Parker. So it'd be interesting to see if she pops up. I mean, I think the speculation that there's going to be a SHIELD affiliation sometime after or around Fantastic Four and the Asgardians that I've talked about before. The Asgardians very likely to get that upgrade first. She would definitely be a contender. Now, moving on, we have number 2 here, Slingshot Yoyo. This is Elena Yoyo Rodriguez. So her actual character or superhero identity is Slingshot. Now, she is one of the newer members of SHIELD. She was picked by Daisy Johnson, known as Quake, to fill in as a roster for the Secret Warriors. They were members of SHIELD that had superpowers that were designed to combat the Skrull invasion that was going on Earth a few years ago. Well, actually probably about 10 years ago. Now, her abilities center around her superpower, which we'll get into in a second, but first, I have to apologize. The only decent image that I could find was from the Marvel Strike Force mobile app. There is some images of her from the TV show, The SHIELD Agents, and of course, some okay versions of in the Marvel comics, but not a lot. I only put her in the top of the roster because she has been getting some attention, not only from the MCU, at least the SHIELD agents, but also in the video games. Now, her power is super speed. We don't have a rating exactly how fast her super speed is, but at least in the comics, it looks pretty gosh darn fast. And you're like, well, we already have Quicksilver. Well, hold on to your panties. Slingshot runs at super speed, and then at some point, she rewinds or basically teleports back to where she was, like a yo-yo or a slingshot, kind of. And I think on the tabletop, she's not going to be physically imposing strength-wise or defense-wise, but movement-wise, she's going to be one of the greater movement characters, I think, if they were to bring her onto the tabletop. And it looks like, Marvel and their affiliates are wanting to kind of get more diversity out there. So having this great character, at least from the SHIELD TV show and from the video games, and even the comics would be ideal. And be able to zip around, like, hey, you can do an attack and then immediately make a short move after the attack is resolved. Or maybe maybe it's a spending power attack, and after you do the attack, you can move medium. Or maybe you can do a short move and attack another character if they're within range. And I think with this character, you can get a lot of extra movement abilities, not just from her basic attacks, but also from her superpower and or reactive powers. Like if she is struck with an attack, or she makes a successful defense roll or something, then she can make an immediate move. It's going to be used once per turn, that sort of thing. I think we can get probably one of the best movement characters from her. She's not going to be a big damage dealer, but I think she'll be good for kiting characters or zipping around and getting secure tokens, or maybe assisting other characters, because she's not really, like I said, a top-end character to dish out damage, even with her cybernetic limbs. But she definitely has, when you combine her powers, be able to zip around and then go in and pummel somebody, then get back out. She's going to have some high defenses, right? All right, so let's go to our number one, Quake. Daisy Johnson has appeared about 18 years ago. Yeah, 18 years ago, in around 2004 in the, at that time, I think the third Secret Wars comic book series. The first one being with the Beyonder and bringing up a whole bunch of characters to Battle World, and it helped sell Mattel toys and or Hasbro toys, whoever was selling toys at that time. Great series then. The Secret Wars that she was in was a little darker, as in greatly darker than the original one. She is she's got kind of a dual lineage that we need to talk about. First up, her mother, who, no offense, is of no consequence outside of her having latent inhuman genes, which she passed on to Daisy Johnson, who we know as Quake. So she has that, and that's where her main powers come from. Her father, we've talked about before when I did the Masters of Evil video, he is known as Hyde, and this is all reflected, of course, in the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, where she is basically next to the Phil Coulson character. They're the main co-characters for that TV show. Now, this character came out before the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent came out. This is not a, hey, let's go ahead and get this character into the comics. It was quite the opposite. The character was already there. Now, her powers stem from, obviously, her inhuman lineage. And some databases online mention that the comic book version of her is physically stronger, faster, and greater endurance than Captain America, only slightly. But when you compare a lot of the online databases with their power rankings, it's wrong. So I don't know if that's just like a misprint on some of those databases or not. But we know that because of her inhuman metabolism, her lineage, that she definitely has enhanced reflexes, endurance, strength, speed, stamina, everything that comes along with when you are physically enhanced. Now, she's not superhuman in that regards, just enhanced. So I would say close to Captain America, but not quite there. So her main power, though, is her ability of vibration manipulation. Now, this might sound kind of funny, but she basically can create some powerful vibrations. And you kind of joke about it, but when you put it into the context of her ability to create earthquakes, and now that kind of changes everything. She was snatched up basically when she was young by Nick Fury, who trained her to obviously be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, to be a spy and whatnot, but also to control her powers to the point that she can do pinpoint accuracy, where she can start vibrating things from the inside out. We've seen her do that before with a variety of attacks, or saving people that have bombs in their head. We saw her explode Wolverine's heart at one point. That was why it was still in his chest, not on the outside, but it was still in his chest, and she blew it up. She's knocked out Magneto by basically vibrating his brain to where it basically shook him to pass out. We know that she has that level of control. And before, she had to use her gauntlets, which I think if we see that on the tabletop, she's going to have her gauntlets, because that's really what she's known for. But at least in the comics, she doesn't need the gauntlets anymore. They fixed her up. We also know through some unknown means she has some psionic shielding, or some psychic shields. So on the tabletop, at least in regards to psychic shields, I would say we would see her with a 4 in Mystic defense and probably a 3 in the other two. And she'd be on the kind of low end health wise. I imagine about a 5 on both the healthy side and the daze side. Size 2 character, medium movement, probably. I think at least as threat 3. I could possibly see a threat 4, mainly because of her earthquake causing ability, or if she does the pinpoint, the amount of power that she can generate would be very potent. On energy projection side, it's pretty high, especially when you can create area of effect attacks, which I think on the tabletop, we could really use a lot more area of effect attacks, even long range area of effect attacks, which this could be a turn in that direction where maybe she has a range 3 area 2 attack instead of most area attacks are around the attacking character. So give her some ranged area of effect attacks. This is be a big turnaround from a lot of the other characters. And then she, like I said, she wouldn't have a lot of defense physically. I mean, she's not superhuman in that regards. She doesn't have like invulnerable skin or anything like that. She just has normal body armor. So she'd probably be maybe a 2 or a 3 in the physical and 2 or 3 in the energy, but her mystic would definitely be up there. Other than that, she could also be a shield leader, give her another affiliation ability. Yes, she was a shield leader when Captain America had aged because the formula had run its course, or I can't remember what happened in the comics. He restarted Shield, and this was after the fall or after the Civil War. This is after the rise of Hammer, who took over Shield, and then Shield's eventual decommission. Now he brought it back, and he put Daisy Johnson, Quake, in charge of Shield. So boom, there we go. A second Shield leader. We would get that knocked out, plus a very decent character that would be above Nick Fury in the variety of powers that she has access to, but less in regards to some of his leadership boosting abilities that he has. And give her the ability to summon grunts. Perfect. I think she is definitely the top contender. I do have one honorable mention that I really got to talk about, guys. And before we wrap this up, I want to talk about Texas Twister. Now, Texas Twister is a very unique character. His name is Drew Daniels. He's been around since the 70s. Now, his power, I've got to tell you, and he is a shield agent, mind you, his power stems from being run over basically by a tornado that had sucked up some radiation from a nearby nuclear power plant, and basically that's where he got his powers from. Now, this is back in the day when it's like, oh, they got radiation or bit by a radioactive spider, and so instead of dying of radiation sickness, they actually got superpowers. Well, he got the power to, well, make tornadoes, and we'll talk about that in a second. His first time on the scene is when he answers a newspaper ad to join the Frightful Four. He eventually does not join the Frightful Four, and then goes and joins S.H.I.E.L.D., becomes one of their super agents. He spent some time with various groups, including a group called the Rangers that featured a variety of really, I want to say, Western style of characters like Firebird, Knight Rider, Red Wolf, Shooting Star, and such. He served a little bit of time, I believe, if I'm trying to remember correctly, or fought alongside the West Coast Avengers. During the Civil War, he sided with the Thunderbolts and or Iron Man to help capture unregistered superheroes. We know that he was part of the Initiative program, which was putting basically an Avengers team of some sort in all 50 states. We know that he was in Texas with the Rangers. And so let's talk about his tornado powers. So it's basically, he has a psychokinetic ability to accelerate air. All right. And he can get this up to like 200 feet in diameter, all the way down to 2 inches in diameter. And with speeds around 225 miles per hour, which is pretty gosh darn fast. This gives him the ability to like fly. As you can see, he's got the twister ability around his waists. We know that like most air generating characters like this, like Red Tornado over in DC, they can generate high winds around their fists and get the punches or to push people around, basically kind of like an energy blast, but an air blast of which has got to suck getting hit by basically, even though you can see the kind of tornado coming at you, a 225 mile an hour blast of air is going to knock you on your ass. And we know that also alongside this power, at least according to some of the databases, is that because of his tornado radiation power, like from a bad sci-fi movie, that he is able to resist a lot of the wear and tear that comes with being in those winds. So his skin's a lot denser. So he doesn't have to worry about friction. He doesn't have to worry about being torn apart by particles or glass and whatnot. He has enhanced eyesight because if you're flying around or being inside of a tornado, you got to be able to see well, right? And of course, he's immune to his own powers in regards to, probably motion sickness, getting dizzy, probably has some great abilities to resist vertigo, debilitating powers and whatnot. I don't think we're going to see him, guys, but I just had to, when I was doing my research, I had to mention Texas Twister. Actually, I didn't have to, but I feel like I would not count out that Atomic Mass Games does not do this. And if they do, you're welcome, Atomic Mass Games. I think you're welcome for my service. At any rate, guys and gals, I hope you like this top 5 shield agents that I think we're going to see if these rumors, really speculation, pans out, and we're going to be seeing more shield agents that are superheroes, or maybe super agents, super power agents. Let's go with super agents of shield. I think we will see them, and at least another team leader. And I think at the very least, we should get Mockingbird. I can see Mockingbird and Quake being in the same box together. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. On this coming Monday, I'm going to be revealing what the April giveaway is, as long as we hit our 200 subscribers by the end of the month. And we'll do that in that video. Anyways, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you leave a comment, whether it's a like or a dislike. Just let me know down in the description below, or at least in the comments below, why you dislike the video. That way I can at least correct it in the future. You guys have been great interacting with me, answering a lot of questions. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you guys. So make sure you guys keep it up. Anyways, my name is John. This is Havoc Maker Studio, and I'll talk to you next Monday. See you guys.